Dave, Jay, and Sam, and Assemblywoman Claudia Tenney on the show. Do you have a favorite football team you follow or not?
Well, I'm a long-suffering Giants fan, but I like a lot of teams. I used to be a Seattle Seahawks fan, and I love Russell Wilson and I liked him before he won a Super Bowl. So I'm a quarterback fan too. I love Peyton Manning. My nephew lives in Colorado, and he cried all through the Super Bowl when they lost. And
yeah, Peyton's not playing well this year either.
Yeah, I like watching football. I enjoy it. I like it's fun. I like to see, just like baseball, I like to see a great game more than I am like a huge fan of any particular team.
I'm kind of the same way. There was a college game over the weekend. The big Michigan State rivalry took place, and I don't know if you saw the footage, but the poor punter, Michigan had the game won.
Oh, I saw it. It was all over. Unbelievable.
The punter fumbled the snap. Michigan State scooped it up, scored a touchdown on the game's final play, and Michigan lost the game, and now the punter has been receiving death threats.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, that was a trend on Twitter it was the top Twitter trend for a long time. I have a guy that I follow on on Twitter that's from Michigan, and they were just like, everybody was going crazy over it, but I think he's a Michigan or Michigan State guy, so he was happy about it. I'm not sure, but it's too bad. Actually, I have to say, so speaking of that, I used to love watching, this year for the first time, I watched soccer because I love this. The women's soccer team was just amazing. I loved watching that. So I used to think, my Bosnian friends are all really into soccer, and they're always like, "Oh, come on, it's the greatest thing ever." I found myself like reading a magazine and going, "Is anyone going to score?" Like,
Dave played women's soccer.
You're giving up all my secrets at once now.
How'd you do that?
I'm now a healthy man. I wasn't always a healthy guy.
I've seen you doing a lot of running. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was a goalkeeper at the time.
I actually am just not good. I'm good with hand-eye coordination sports, but like when I play soccer, I just want to reach down and pick it up. I can't help that temptation.
So we can have Dave kick balls at you after the interview. So
I'll catch them. So that's why you must have that too if you were a goalkeeper.
Good hand-eye coordination. Were you basketball, volleyball?
I played basketball. I played basketball, golf. I showed horses, riding, so that for many years. But
now you got a motorcycle.
Now I have a motorcycle. I know that's not exactly that athletic.
Yeah, so you're trying to.
Although it can be, it's fun. I love basketball.
You're trying to coerce Sam into getting a motorcycle.
I know. Well, I ride with her dad, so
for sure.
He drives too fast for me.
Assemblywoman.
I'm a pokey driver. I like to enjoy it. I like to drive out in the country roads where no cars are and enjoy the beautiful scenery.
Yeah, trying to do wheelies or burnouts at the red line.
I'm a senior. In 1 year, in a year, I'm eligible for retirement community. I'm going to move to the Villages. I see that ad. If
in
you're
Florida?
55 and over, the Villages.
It's big time down there for sure. You made some news last week at the end of the week there, I know, with some comments that you had made based on comments from another political rival.
Yeah, I was just surprised. Well, I wasn't surprised. Let's put it that way. So, yeah, Richard Hanna came out and basically criticized the Benghazi committee and said that it was political, and he jumped on the bandwagon with another Republican, McCarthy. And I just thought it was really inappropriate because I have to say that just comparing, and again, I'm showing my age. I remember when they did the Watergate hearings. I was young, but I remember it was on TV, and those were about a guy who was bugging, Richard Nixon was bugging the Watergate headquarters. It was all political. It didn't involve the United States and our security. Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State, and they're looking into the deaths or murders of 4 Americans. And this committee is different. It's a select committee. It's different than all the other committees that they had before, which didn't have subpoena powers. So by having subpoena powers, this committee has been doing the slow drip of getting emails, and wow, we're discovering there was more. Now, they just recently got the emails from the ambassador who was killed, Chris Stevens, last week. This occurred in 2012. If she had had a server that was part of that was properly done, this all would have been known instantly after the incident. So it's been obstructionist. They've been blocking it, and so to say now that this is a political committee, look at Watergate was on. You got to sit there and watch the entire thing. This is being done very behind closed doors, which people may say is not transparent. But I think the purpose of it being done behind closed doors is they really are trying to get to the truth using the subpoena power. And by the way, the committee doesn't bring charges against Hillary or whoever is responsible here. It's the federal government through their agencies. Obama administration has the purview over the Department of the FBI, the NSA, and the Inspector General's office. All three of those federal organizations are investigating Hillary Clinton for a crime. That's the Obama administration. That's not, if you're going to say that's political, then you're going to subscribe to the theory that Obama's going to try to get rid of Hillary. And I just think it's really important information. It's much more serious than some of the things that we've seen in the past. And by the way, Trey Gowdy responded and said, look, we have not
defending.
Yeah, we have invested. We were in the interview on 70 or 80 people. Only one witness has mentioned anything that had to do with Hillary Clinton. They're trying to get to the bottom of Benghazi. I think what people are confusing this with is Judicial Watch, which is an independent organization, sued on behalf of the families of Benghazi, and they've also obtained a lot of information. And I think sometimes the lines are getting blurred. That's an independent organization getting a lot of the information on the emails on the server. My point was, why would you take a shot like this at a committee, and call it political and undermine, the committee when you don't really know what's going on? And I just thought it was insensitive. And Richard actually backpedaled those remarks. He spoke again to the Post-Standard and said, I meant just it was just, there's acrimony generally, or whatever it was. I'm paraphrasing. And I didn't mean the Benghazi committee, so that, to me, that's not very plausible.
You mentioned subpoena. Is there enough subpoena power there, do you believe?
Yeah, well, that's what they have. Excuse me, I apologize for my sore throat this morning. The difference between a select committee and just a regular committee of Congress, of which they've had many hearings that, to me, were not fruitful. And so I agree on that point. But a select committee forces people to come in and testify. And they just test Huma Ahmadine, who's Hillary Clinton's key aide, was interviewed behind closed doors. So it wasn't a public display, and everybody could call in and watch it on TV, right, and make it a big fireworks event. So they could have done that, but they didn't. And I think I give them credit for doing that, because they seem like they're really trying to get to the bottom of it. I just thought it was just uncalled for him to do it. And I was on another show recently, and they said, well, he's just telling the truth, because Richard said, well, this is what happens when you tell the truth in Washington. And I think he is telling the truth. I think what he's saying is, I don't really believe that I really believe it's political, and I think he should tell the truth to the people in his district that he's really not a Republican and doesn't support Republican values.
And how do you think that will help him as far as that goes, along his party lines?
I think he's probably trying to shore up Republican or Democratic votes, maybe. I don't know. I mean, who can speculate as to why you would say it? Some people say, well, he shoots from the hip. I shoot from the hip, too, but you don't hear me talking, about praising Democrats for their principles.
We'll talk about shooting. How about gun control?
Yeah.
And I want to ask you about Remington Arms. Any thoughts about what's going on with Remington Arms?
I haven't heard anything specific other than they're hiring more people, and they seem to be growing a little bit right now, but we're always nervous about that. It's always, especially with the specter of this Alabama plant and the requirement that they produce so many jobs in Alabama,
and incentives that they have,
the incentives to get the jobs and to get the benefits that they're getting. So they're increasing their employment again, which is a good thing. I'd like to see them increase even more, because these manufacturing jobs are really important. Because remember, not everybody can go work at the Nano Center. We have a lot of people that could do really great work at a manufacturing facility, and I think that that's really important to continue to grow our manufacturing base. And I'll quote someone who is involved in getting people back to work, who's now retired, said, we need regular jobs for regular people. We just need people that, not everybody has high skills, but we want people to go to work. And Remington although Remington has many high skilled jobs, there are also jobs in there we can train people to do that aren't going to be having to deal with complex math and science.